Gerlando will be here to go over our website overhaul. We will have time today for the division director updates. Those will be 5 minutes per division. So just so you know that ahead of time, I'll have my stopwatch out here timing that. And then after we adjourn, which will be about 11:25 or 30 or so, then the divisions can move into their breakout sessions, those that are in a position that want to hold their division council meetings. With that, I think we'll move on to the next slide. There it is. Just reminding everyone, this year's mantra, together we can soar. It takes all of us working together to make that happen. It's all about team. It's all about together. Next slide, please. Just reminding what some of the standing rules are for our monthly meetings. The chat will be monitored today by Linda Patton and Jeff Young. There will be no answering of questions during the presentation, so please post your questions to chat. And after each presentation, there will be a moment for responding to the questions that were put into chat. We will observe excellent club meeting etiquette, as you all know, and we are going to be having a vote during the meeting today concerning the contest that we'll be holding, and so for those, we will have parliamentary procedure governing that vote. Next slide, please. Today, I would like to share just a little bit of this and a little bit of that for all of you. First of all, the Trio Plus, the PRM and the finance manager have been working on a number of reports that were due into TI by September 30th. We met all of those deadlines. Because we met all of those deadlines, our district gets to compete, the clubs get to compete for distinguished status. If we don't meet those deadlines, we're kind of out in left field for the whole year. So we did it. It was a lot of work, but we are so happy. I also wanted to share with you about the Toastmasters International realignment. There will be a group of districts that are going to be looked at for realignment. District 57 is not one of those. They will be looked at next year. A new, I guess, rule, I don't know what to call it, a new rule that has come down from TI is that in order for a district to exist, it must have at least 100 clubs. Okay, 100 clubs is the minimum number for a district to exist. If a district doesn't have 100 clubs, it will be combined with another district, or it might be broken up amongst a number of different districts. The realignment process that they go through next year will make that determination. So this year is a year we need to lean into starting new clubs. We started the year with 105-ish. We've already lost several clubs. In order for us to compete for distinguished status, we need to move that up to 115 clubs. But we would want to do that anyway to make sure that we preserve District 57 as a district. So I wanted to just share that with you. We're going to be talking about the contests that we're going to be holding this year. Linda Patton will be covering that within her report, and then later we'll be voting on how many we want to hold. I just wanted to say that we've just completed a week with Rose Curlin, our regional advisor. We've been out visiting clubs, having pizza parties. It was a fabulous week. I'm exhausted. I'm sure other members that were participating in this whirlwind are also exhausted. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I wanted to bring up, I know a number of you are aware that hidden deep within the bowels of my house are box after box after box of contest awards, plaques, all of that stuff that we give out at the end of the year that people didn't come to pick up are at my house. I need somebody to volunteer to mail those out. We can split it up. If one person could maybe do all the mailing labels, and send those to whoever it is that volunteers to package up those awards, and then to whoever volunteers to stand at the post office and mail those awards. I need help. I haven't had the stretch to even look at them. A few have been handed out, but for the most part, they have not been handed out. If there's a way for me to get them to the individual division directors so that you can be responsible for mailing them out to your members, that would be awesome. So I need help. That's a bottom line. Also, I need a facilities manager. I have been acting as the facilities manager for the DEC meetings, bringing snacks and treats, and generally overseeing what we're doing here in the room. I will not be at the November meeting. My daughter is having her wedding reception that day, and you know where I'm going to be, not here. So Linda will be conducting that meeting, but I need someone to step up and bring snacks on that day. But I'd really love to have someone be our facilities manager. I have a pin for you. I have a pin that says facilities manager on it. It's not too late to get that pin. So if anyone would like to do that, I would love it. I think that's all I had to say about that. I would now like to call on our program quality director, Linda Patton. Oh, our questions. You're right. You're right. I've just been reminded I made the big announcement about questions. Are there any questions for me?
I have no questions. Greg Scott says new policy, but that's about it. Anyone else get questions back there from the?
So the change in the number of clubs is a policy decision that has come down from TI. Thank you, Greg. I wasn't sure what to call it. Are there any questions on what I just covered just now?
I have no questions here.
Okay, Linda has no questions there. Okay, then let's introduce our program quality director, Linda Patton.
Sally, thank you so very much. And it's so good to see you all. It's midday here in Columbus, getting warmer, and what can I say? So we're into vitalization, rebuilding, and reinventing. And as Sally said, we definitely are in the rebuild process. So next slide, please. All right, so beginning of the 2025 annual conference, a new beginning. Who? It's District 57 Toastmasters, all members, club officers, area and division officers, district officers, as well as guests from around the world. What is it? It's the 2025 annual conference, business meeting, and speech contests. Do we know where? Not yet, but we're honing in on that. Kate Mills is out there scouting for just the right spot and being able to get us just what we need as far as tech and all that good stuff. When? Mark your calendars. At the moment, it is May 16 and 17. So I get to celebrate my 40th wedding anniversary with you all, because I was married on May 17th. And how? We will have a proposed schedule coming up soon. Next. So let's look at the schedule. We're going to start with a wonderful welcome from our district director, Sally Philbin. I have proposed, and again, we will go into this in more detail after I'm finished, an online speech contest, virtual only, which will start about 3 o'clock your time. Our keynoted speaker is going to do a preview of what he or she is going to talk about on Saturday. So sort of a teaser to get you all excited about that presentation the next day. That will also be about 5 p.m. your time. And then following that will be the annual business meeting, virtual only, and that will start at 5:30 your time. Okay, next. On Saturday, I am proposing that we start with the in-person evaluation contest with a hybrid audience, starting at the bright time of 7:30 your time. The conference contact at the moment will include a welcome from our district director, Sally Philbin, our keynote address, breakout sessions at 11 and at 1:30, our awards ceremony with a parade of banners starting at 3 p.m., and then the in-person international speech contest with the hybrid audience at 4:30 p.m. There will be obviously meals and networking break time. We're going to start with a continental breakfast buffet at 7 a.m., grab and go lunch at 12:30, and snacks throughout the day for breaks. Next, please. Also, I'd like to announce for November and December, our contest team will be putting together contest training on how to do an in-person contest. It's been a while. The dates will be announced shortly. TLI, our second go-round, will start on December 7th. It will be online and hybrid, or will be online, not in person. And we will have a moment of silence, and I believe it was 7 a.m. Hawaii time for the attack at Pearl Harbor. We will also look at DCP points for December. The big one coming up is the mini success plan, Moments of Truth, combined with 5 DCP points. I'm seeing just a ton of mini success plans coming through. Haven't seen as many Moments of Truth, and we're looking constantly at our DCP points to see how y'all are doing there. And I really would love to see the majority of our clubs getting these DCP points. Next. All right, a big don't wait. You know that Pathways is closed down for the time being while we do the major restructuring in Pathways. But that doesn't mean that you get to rest on your laurels and go, good, I don't have to do any Pathways speeches because I can't get any credit. Not so. You can, how do I want to put this? Sandbag all these. You can speak a lot, get a lot of speeches in your paths out of the way so that when we do reopen, your VPE will be overwhelmed with the number of approvals that he or she needs to make and with the number of paths that are completed within the club. Don't wait. Don't sit around and say, gee, I don't have to speak for a month, 2 months, however long it's going to take. You need to speak. You need to keep your skills honed sharply. And last of all, I presented this week, the table of content. I am offering to the clubs speakers who are willing to do open house speeches, just regular speeches to fill in for, gee, we don't have any speakers this week, or we'd really like someone special to talk about a particular topic. I have a list of about 25 members who have said, yes, I'd like to do that. I would like 100 of you all to give me a speech that you'd be willing to give at another club. And my table of content chair, Carrie Kelly, will be monitoring that. We'll be bringing in all of those requests and then sending out speakers to the clubs. This is for open houses. And like I said, if they just would like a particular topic, you know, how do we do XYZ? Could somebody demo Y? Whatever it might be, we have the speakers to make it happen. And I'll be honest with you, that event last week was so much fun. I would be willing to bet that of the people who showed up, they were not expecting to speak. And every one of them gave us a 2-minute clip of what their speech would be. And I was so impressed and so proud of them. And I want to thank them all for stepping up and stepping out and stepping into that role. Next, please. And then any questions for me?
I have no question for you in the chat.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Question from the room is, when will the business meeting be?
The business meeting will be on Friday, May 16th, and I believe it said 7:30 your
It's at
time.
5:30 our time.
5:30. Yeah, okay, 5:30 your time.
Are there any other questions?
We have one that says, how do you join the table of contents? And actually, Lynn, do you want to answer the question for that?
Either way, you can put your name and your title in the chat, or you can send me an email at linda@d57tm.org, and we will put you on the list.
All right, I see no other questions.
All right, we will. Thank you, Linda. Did you have a parting remark, Linda?
No, I'm going to be excited to see what you all decide as far as the contests are concerned, and also whether you like the conference layout, and what Kate and I are planning on doing with her committee. So I'm excited about it.
As am I. It's going to be an awesome event this coming year. All right, moving on to the next slide. We are required, that's not a bad thing, we're required to actually bring to our DEC meeting options for the contests that we choose to hold during the year. We must hold the International Speech Contest at our district conference. Beyond that, we can hold one contest, one additional, two additional, three, we can do whatever we want. So the proposal is that we do the evaluation contest, which has to be in person, the international speech contest, which must be in person, and the virtual speech contest, which must be, you guessed it, virtual. So as we think about what we want to do, as you think about what you would like to weigh in on, what I'd like to do is read they're not guidelines, they're really rules on how these contests must be conducted. I learned some of this just this past week from Rose, our regional advisor, who wasn't sure of the answer and wrote into Toastmasters International. So these guidelines or rules come straight out of TI last week. I mean, I'm sure they were already here, but you know, I don't read all of everything, so I got this hot off the presses. So Toastmasters International has mandated that all contests, with the exception of the virtual speech contest, be held in person. And the only contest that TI mandates that we hold is the in-person international speech contest. The virtual contest must have all virtual functionaries, and all in-person contests must have all in-person functionaries. So that's the judges, the ballot counters, the timer, the Toastmaster. They have to align with the kind of contest that you're running. So for instance, at the area level, if we choose to do 3 contests, you can choose to have the virtual contest on a different date, and then the same people can come who were in-person judges and be virtual judges at that contest. But if you choose to have have 2 or 3 contests on the same date, then you need a separate set of functionaries for the virtual contest, and then one set of functionaries for the 2 in-person contests. So typically in this district, we run 2 contests. We never had this virtual speech contest option before. And we typically run the evaluation and international speech contest. This year, both of those must be in person. We have added the virtual half day to the conference schedule so that May, was it 16th date, is a Friday afternoon and evening when we are looking, if we choose this today, that's when the virtual contest would be, leading into the other events that Linda mentioned and the business meeting. And if we choose to today hold also the evaluation contest along with the required international speech contest, those 2 contests would be on Saturday. For club contests, they can be run any old way. You know, you don't even have to have a contest. You can just appoint someone to go to the next level. It doesn't matter. You can have all of your contests virtually. It doesn't matter. At the club level, do whatever you want. At the area level, and at the division level and at the district level, we must abide by these rules that I've just outlined. So the trio and I have reviewed this proposal, and from a district point of view and running these contests at the district conference, it seems like a really innovative and workable approach. But that's from the district level. I need to hear from you folks how you perceive this working for you at the area and division levels. It's very important because all these rules must be followed, and particularly for the international speech contest, for each level to be certified, I'll just use that word, to move on to the next, you have to have followed the all in-person functionary rule. Okay. So I don't have a slide in here that says questions, so you can just leave it on this slide. But please ask questions, give opinions. You can raise your virtual hand. People in the room can raise their hand. Lindy, if you'll, I don't have a running mic, so if you can, sure, come on up. That way I don't have to try to remember what your question is, or comment. So questions, comments. You have 30 seconds in order for us to get everybody in.
Is just about what the district will support financially. So if we do in person, does the district help us with cost of location?
We have in our budget, we have budgeted money for both the areas and the divisions. I don't have it on the top of my head, but yes.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
We have one question in the chat from Greg Scott. This is international evaluation contest in person, except at the club level, correct?
Correct. So did everyone hear the question when Jeff stated it? Okay, so the club can do any old thing it wants, but at the area, division, district, we must follow the rules of Toastmasters International. Any other questions?
I see no other questions in the chat.
Do we have comments from the room?
Dennis?
Just maybe a clarification. You said that there are funds available for EDs and PDs, division director, but it's not a huge amount of money.
Correct.
It's not enough to rent the hall.
Correct.
Right.
Sally, we can't hear the question.
The question, yeah, we need to repeat. You're right, Linda, and that's what we do. We repeat the questions from the room. So the question is, please remind the group that although we do provide some funding, it's not like a huge amount of funding. And I'm on the meeting now, so I don't know whether I can run to the budget to see how much it is. But
We'll get back to you on that.
yeah, we'll get back to you. It's not a huge amount of money. But we do have to run in person for the international speech contest. So, I'm sure there's not enough in the budget for a particular area or a particular division to hold more than one in-person contest. I was thinking that it might be fun for divisions to team up like we do for officer training. You know, maybe A and B the divisions A and B run their division contests at the same time. But again, we're talking, do we want to run 3 contests, 2 contests, or 1 contest? And how would that work? So that's the question before us. 1 contest, 2 contests, 3 contests, and if we want to run more than 1 contest, what do we want the other 1 or other 2 contests to be? I have a question from Lee. Oh, I'm sorry.
We have a question in the chat from Shalini asking, do we have a list of suggested venues by geographic location and recommendations from the district? At this particular point in time, no, we do not, but we could work on that before the contest season begins. And then conference co-chair Kate, suggest division and area directors ask their corporate clubs and community clubs meeting at places with auditoriums or lecture halls if they will allow the club event contests there.
That's a good idea. So those will be the kinds of things that we'll go forward with and suggest. Lindy?
Can I come ask?
No, it's all right. Yeah, the comment is that in the past, that's what we did. We went looking for free locations. We went looking for locations that clubs were already using or
Exactly.
had access to. So, Lisa? Right, so the question is just a clarification of what the options are. We must have the international speech contest. We can choose to have that we will be having that contest. We can choose, in addition to that contest, to have an evaluation contest, which is in person only. We can choose to have a second contest of the virtual speech contest only. We can choose to have evaluation contest and virtual speech contest in addition to the international speech contest. If someone wanted, we could not have the evaluation contest and have table topics instead, for instance. So there are options that we need to talk through. So I'd like to hear from some more people, particularly my division directors. Carrie, come on up so that they can hear your comments from our.
Come on up, have a seat.
I would like,
This guy, right?
oh, wait. I would like to know if areas and divisions can combine with functionaries for the manpower, because it takes a lot of manpower to run these contests. So if we have a group of people trained to go to each contest, or does every area have to provide their own functionaries?
No, the only requirement is that the in-person contest must have in-person functionaries. If you had a group of functionaries that traveled from contest to contest, that's fine. But the virtual contest must have all virtual functionaries. And if you happen to have the virtual contest of the same night as the international speech contest, you would have to have 2 sets of functionaries for that night. But yes, to your question, yes, you can share. The functionaries can travel, and we always have done that, where functionaries help out at a number of different contests. Okay, do you have anything else? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
And do you have any other comments or thoughts about running the 3 contests versus 2 versus 1?
Well, if we have 3 contests, the virtual one, does it have to be the night before, or can it be any time?
The virtual one for the conference, we're going to run the night before. The divisions and areas can run theirs anytime that they want to, within the confines of when, for instance, area contests are a particular month, and division contests are a particular month. But those contests can be in relation to each other within that month, however it works out on the calendar. Now, division contests, we do not want to run 2 division contests at the same time. So that's a consideration. If we're running 12 separate contests because of virtual and in person, if the division chooses to run those at different time frames, then that's 12 different time periods that need to be selected during that 1 month period. because we don't run them on top of each other. Area contests, we have so many, they can run on top of each other, but not the division contests. Lindy? Yeah, as in the past, the in-person contests can be same day, location, same functionaries because they're in person. So if my answer made the question clear, the question was, can the international speech and virtual speech be run the same? No. Can the international speech and like the evaluation contest be run at the same time? That was the question. Excuse me.
So I have a question. So each of the division contests have to be run at the same time? What do you mean by on top of each other?
Well, if it's March 8th and we have 2 area contests scheduled for March 8th, that's fine. If it's April 8th and we have 2 division contests where they're not combined, right? They're not combined. They're at 2 different locations, then we don't support that. So we insist that the divisions hold their contests at different times from each other so that people can go to every contest, every division contest.
I think it'd be good to have a table topics be the virtual contest the night before, and then have the evaluation and the international speech contest.
So, and not the virtual speech contest.
Or table topic contest, virtually.
You can't do it virtually.
Can't do that. All of those contests must be in person. So table topics, evaluation contest, humorous contests, those all have to be done in person. The only contest that we can run virtually is the virtual speech contest.
And is that a separate international speech contest?
It doesn't go to, it's the same kind of speech, but that string of contests stops at the district. So the only series of contests that go to the convention is the international speech contest. All the other contests stop at the district level.
So that contest could be a humorous contest.
It must be run in person, but yes, we can have a humorous contest as long as we run it in person.
But the virtual one the night before.
It has to be the virtual speech contest.
Clarification on this. Basically, the standard contest.
Oh, do you have your mic?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
The standard name contests, which are international speech, humorous, table topics, tall tales, whatever, all those had to be in person for that. The online contest could be anything, but we just can't call it table topics or whatever. It's just
Well, no,
online.
you're confusing things now. Don't say that. That's a confusion. If we're running official district contest, I'm not proposing anything that's outside the official district contest. There's only one contest that can be run virtually. That's the virtual speech contest.
Right.
Those speeches are typically similar to the international contest speeches, which can be any style speech, frankly, but that's the only one run as a district contest that can be run virtually. All other contests that are run as district contests must be in person. I don't care what they are. If they're district contests that run through the club, the area, the division, and to our district conference, must be in person. Dennis Neary? Tall Tales is still an option. I don't think we have either, but other districts have. Okay. Yeah, Dennis is saying that he's familiar with the Tall Tales contest from another
I just
district.
wanted to make sure it's still a thing they'll vote for.
So
Okay, so we're taking up a lot of time with. Okay, Sankar.
Yeah, I have 3 questions. One, if the area contest or the division contest, if they find their own place, they can go ahead. If they need any help, they can always reach out to us. Is that correct? to have the contest in a common place.
I'm sorry, Sankar. Are you asking if the contests, the in-person contests have to be at the same place? Is that what you're asking?
Not in the same place. If they find their own place, it is fine. But if they are not able to find the place, then they can always tiros to get some common place. Is it possible? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're asking me.
No, if area contest or any of the area or any of the division contest, if the people they cannot find the common place where they have to conduct where they have to have the contest in person. So in case if they need any help, they can always reach out to Rose and then you can find a place. Is that correct?
Okay, so
We're
if they
not gonna find-
cannot find a place,
Yes.
they have to find a place because they cannot run these contests. Oh, combined, is that what the question is? Yes,
Yeah, area can, and the next question is area contest can be combined, but division
yes.
contest cannot be combined.
That's what I was saying earlier, so thank you for reminding me. I apologize for not understanding you.
No problem.
The area contest can be combined and run at the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
Division contests can do the same thing, frankly. No more than two, because that would be an all-day thing. I mean, unless you wanted an all-day thing, but I'm not sure that,
Okay.
But yes, they can be combined.
And the last question is whether the functionaries who are serving on a particular division cannot serve on their own division contest. Is that correct? They can serve for other division, but for that division, the functionary cannot be from the same division. Is that correct?
Functionaries cannot be competitors. They cannot be contest competitors until they've lost.
Okay.
And then they can't be a functionary until after they've lost.
Okay.
So the question was, can you be a functionary one division and a contestant in another division? And the answer is no.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, just
and-
a minute. Sue, Skiff, you have a question?
Yes. I think you said something about having all three contests on the same night. And I think that would be really difficult because of the fact that you would need different functionaries for the in-person contest than you have for the
Right, all I said was,
online contest.
okay. Yeah, all I said was that was an option. That's an
Okay.
option. It's really not a preferred option in my mind, but it is an option. Lindy, and then I'll go back to Greg. Lindy? Mm-hmm. The question is, what's the advantage to us to hold both an international speech contest and a virtual speech contest? We have a lot of members in our district who are virtual only. They come from around the world. So although they won't be able to progress to the convention, it's an opportunity for them to hone their speech giving skills in a contest setting. So that's why that contest was created, and that's why we are seriously considering running that contest. So, yeah, so that's that question. Greg Scott.
Thank you, Madam District Director. For years, this district has run the in-person contest before COVID or before the Zoom meetings occurred. We've found locations. We've conducted the international, which is speech contest, which is goes all the way to the world champion public speaking, and then we've had a tradition of the evaluation contest. My point is that contests do not add to distinguished clubs or distinguished district. We need to manage our time to get our members to focus on that. And so when we consider the use of contests, we need to balance out the amount of time that we're requesting from members to look at a contest and to work as a contest chair or other people doing briefings, setting up and contacting judges and all that. So I recommend we go back to the traditional way of just of the international and the evaluation. Areas and division directors can find their locations, share those together, and we move on without having a lot of time spent, such as we're doing now, trying to figure out where to go. Let's keep it simple, folks. Let's help get those people who want to compete to compete, but we need to follow the changes.
All right, thank you so much for that comment, Greg. And that's at the heart of the matter. And it's not so much whether we don't do the virtual speech contest, it's do we want to run 3 contests? You know, that it's a lot of contests any way you look at it. And perhaps what we want to do is run international and virtual. And it's just a thought. And I have another Ray Gowan, who's our Division C director. Ray?
I can, unfortunately, 2 of my area directors couldn't be here. One, this happens to be, I think, a religious holiday for one of them,
Oh,
unfortunately. I have, as far as I know, and I think that I do not have an area director that's really excited about running the 2 contests. It's a lot of extra work, and it is not something they've really been excited about. We were required to do the one, and that's understandable. The other is just is putting it together. It's a lot of work putting the 2 contests, and that's in the division. They're only in the district. You're only doing 1, but we have 28 other people that have to do the 2 contests if we're asking it. And I don't think it's an option whether we do it or not. If the district decides to do it and there's candidates, then the contest has to be ran the way I understand. It's not up to the area, and the directors have to follow what the district decides. And I think the money is like $60 or $65. It's a little over $50 is I think what's provided. It's not a lot for the contest, and I'm not exactly sure, but it's in that area. So you aren't going to get rich from it.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that comment. I'm not sure how to pull this together. We need to move on. We need to make a decision. Yeah, do I have a motion to hold 1 contest or 2 contests or 3 contests? What do people want to do? Daniel, your hand's still up. Could be any combination of contests. Yeah, I have a point of order here. Oh, we don't, you know what, we are voting with whoever we've got, is what I was told. Whoever we've got is who's voting. It doesn't, this isn't like an official business meeting. So it's okay.
Deciding for the district if we don't have a quorum, though.
Okay, so do we, okay, so the proposal that was put up was 3 contests. So let's start with that as the first vote. So I want to have people raise their virtual hands online if you're in favor of 3 contests. I'm not going to do motions because you're right, we're not doing this strictly according to all of the rules of parliamentary procedure. We just need to make a general decision. So how many folks in the room want to run 3 contests as put forward in the proposal, which is international speech, virtual speech, and evaluation contest?
Raised hands.
Yep. Anybody who's a voting member of the council. And presidents and VPEs. Yep. Okay, are you kind of, we're looking through the hand raising. What does it look like? Okay, so I need to go back up because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mm-hmm. How many, did you get your count, Dennis? I saw 8. Okay. And then we've got 2 in the room. Okay. So we had 14 out of 32. That's not half. How many don't want to run? How many do not want to run 3 contests? Okay, how many do not want to run 3 contests? Virtual hands?
Oh, wait a second, we gotta take ours down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
How do I take my hand down?
Lower hand button.
Go into reactions and lower hand.
There should be lower hand option.
Can we take down the screen share so we can see everybody?
Perhaps this is 2 contests, right? This vote?
We're at 2 now.
No, we're voting, we're voting for not 3. So how many, so let's, okay, so there were slightly more that said no to the 3. So let's move to 2. Yeah, not 3 passes. So we don't want to run 3. So now we're moving on to 2. And then we'll talk about which 2 they are. So how many are in favor? So it's not going to be 3. So how many are in favor of 2 versus 1? So how many would like to run 2 contests? Yeah, any 2, but one of them is international. So if we get a yes on 2 contests, then I'll ask if we want to run we have 32 people here. Plus what's in the room.
Yeah, so not all of us are voting members of DEC.
Okay, so we have over half there. All right, 2 contests. So then the question is between, I'm just going to make an executive decision that the choices are going to be between evaluation and virtual contests. So how many want the second contest to be the virtual speech contest?
Point of order, I believe we are required to do, one of them has to be the international.
Yes, one of them has to be the international, so we're voting on the other one right now. So we're voting all in favor of the second contest being the virtual speech contest.
You get 2 votes.
Okay, so how many want the second contest to be the evaluation contest? Yeah, everybody put your hand down before we start this next count. Everybody hand down, so we know that this is your intent. Well, it's, okay, so now everybody who wants the evaluation, thank you, contest to be the second contest, raise your hand. And where's my, I know mine's, I'm trying to put it down.
Right there, where's the lower hand?
Oh, thank you. Everybody who wants the second contest to be the evaluation contest, raise your hand. Okay, so the second contest is going to be the evaluation contest. Is that what we got?
My vote on there, Dennis, because when Carrie raised her hand, it put a hand up for me. So she's in front of that camera.
We can't hear you, Jeff.
Effectively, you got an extra vote from my thing online for that.
So it's just one. It's one.
Carrie had her hand up and it raised the hand on there, is what I'm saying.
Did you count Carrie and Jeff? Okay, then that's right. And you didn't count that, right? Okay, so it's one.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So were there more votes for the evaluation than for the virtual? Yes. Okay. So the two contests that we're going to be holding this year are the international speech contest and the evaluation contest, both of which must be in person. Okay? So beyond that, let me just say, just a quick sentence, don't ask any questions, we'll talk about it later. Like Jeff ran a humorous contest just in his own division privately, any of you divisions are welcome to run any contest you want privately within the division. It's just that it won't be a division or district-sponsored contest. And we are so far behind. So let's jump to Jeff's report. Right, yeah.
Okay. I will shorten mine down as much as possible because I know we're way behind schedule. Okay, so can we bring up the slide for me? Thank you very much. And as always, I'm just here as the club growth director to make clubs better one member at a time. So next slide, please. First things first, and most importantly, how to get to be October so fast. Division area directors in the room virtually and otherwise, this one's for you. There are 49 days left to finish all of the area director reports. We are at 1 down, 9 in progress, 9 scheduled, and 96 incomplete for club visits so far. That's 83% not even on the radar, which is definitely not ideal. For those of you who volunteered to be area directors, remember that you need to complete all of your area director reports before November 30th, or you're not eligible for getting credit at all for being an area director. If you need assistance getting things scheduled, please mail the trio and we'll assist. If you need help getting them done, you're also allowed to ask for help from your division director, fellow assistant directors, and assistant area directors if you have them. Please don't wait till Thanksgiving because there are a few clubs that meet once a month, so your window's closing pretty darn quick. We are all on the same team, so essentially don't fail to get credit for not asking for help. I had one area director last year who did not get credit because they failed to turn in their reports on time. Don't let this be you. Okay, next slide, please. As far as open houses go, we are 18% of the goal with 13 open houses being run so far. A lot of clubs stepped out during Rose Curlin's visit, which I'll talk about in a moment, but I want to say that we're making good progress. Remember to claim credit in the incentive tracker, because even if we don't make the 80 mark, I have lots of money to give away. It's in the budget. The open house kit is available, but needs a little bit of final polishing before we release it blindly to the public. I'm still looking for people to test drive it, and we've given a few clubs with flyer templates so far, but pretty much if you want our open house. Maureen, do you have a question? Okay, cool, thank you. All right, good. And it's available for use at this point. Next slide, please. So Rose Kurland, our region advisor, was here for 4 days last week in a morning, a very early morning, and mostly she got to see the clubs that volunteered to have a visit last month. Thank you again for all the clubs that volunteered or got volunteered to have Rose visit. Rose gave multiple speeches, took a lot of photos, and ran it all over a large chunk of the district. The one that we couldn't pull off was getting her into any Division C clubs. Next year, we're going to be planning a side trip up that direction so the northern part of the district gets some region advisor attention. One other thing that could have gone better is that my team and I are not getting anyone to bite when we try cold calling businesses. Like, we know they're calling and hide in the living room or something. Maybe we'll have to bring candy next time for Halloween. Visits were the pizza party. We had an impromptu Q&A session that was recorded, which I'll be uploading something shortly, and convince a brand new joy that is normally hard. And the other bright spot was the table of contents that Linda mentioned. Again, it's essentially all the open house kits include a list of possible speakers and possible speeches and possible workshops that you can call or contact to get them to be the speaker for your club. You don't have to rely on chasing up people yourself. And the thing that we had, I lost my place here, is that we had 14 topics by the end of the night, and we added some more from the open houses as well. No subject will be ridiculed. You never know when someone is curious to hear about submarines. That would be Tim Carlisle, by the way, and whatever Charles Heron might have as well. Full steam ahead, I say. And I want to take a moment to thank Lisa and her PR team for giving us one heck of a signal boost for the entire week. I think I saw Lisa, Derek, and Dee Marie in practically every meeting that we were in, and half the time they were driving somewhere. Thank you for coming along for the ride, literally. All right, next slide. Now that the Rose visit is out of the way, I'm freeing up all the extra space and time that I was spending on that and everything else to do my actual job, which is with my actual team. We've had 2 clubs that badly need club coaches. So stay tuned for club coaching or club coach training, whatever I'm calling it. There's a coaching test you need to pass in order to qualify to be a club coach, and club coach is part of your DTM requirements if you're going for that. From there, it's time to really push to start some new clubs. Right now, my priority is saving the clubs that we have. Thirdly, the other thing I want to talk about, now here's where we are, is from last month's DECM presentation, that's level 2 project. What it is level 2? It's a way to uplift clubs that are, whether they're new or old. It's an assist for pathways, paths.
I can't hear you back there.
I can't? Oh, sorry, okay. And we're going to be adapting it to the learning management system. And hopefully next month, we'll have some training at DECM to roll level 2 out for LMS as well. And this is mainly for new clubs working on their charter because they only have access to level 1 pathways. And the idea is that folks like Ashley Harkness are leading new clubs through whatever space between level 1 and level 2 they can find. We need to teach clubs how to help themselves to everything Toastmasters has to offer. It's been a hectic month, but it only gets better for here. And for people in the room, I apologize if you can't hear me, but I will discuss with you afterwards as well. But that is my really fast speed for that. Questions? Okay, I'll write that down and add that to the, oh, sorry. Lindy says that can we color code the incentive tracker to show which ones the clubs need to enter themselves versus the ones that are done by the admins. So I will send that to the incentive tracker team to get added.
Okay, next.
Do we have any other questions in here before we continue? Okay, and I see, well, there were some earlier from the contest bits. Oh, Sam, I see one from Greg Scott. It says, all club officers must sign off on the mini club plan by October 31st. Is that correct?
In order for you to get standalone credit for the mini club success plan, that is correct. There is another incentive that is called the successful club incentive, that everything is due by December 31st. So it's MOT, mini club success plan, and 5 DCP points. And if the mini club success and the MOT are unfortunately not done until November or December, they count for that one because the club did it. So yes, double dipping, but we did it on purpose because it's important.
And the question from Sri is, can a mini club success plan be submitted late? Can they have a second deadline for it?
It only as I just said. So if you're late with your mini club success plan, you do not get an incentive for having completed the quote mini club success plan. However, if you do mini club success, MOT, and 5 DCP points, then in a sense you're getting credit for it under a different incentive.
Okay. And we have one more request from Ray Gowen to have the district sponsor table topic contest as well, but there was no vote for it. So.
I made a decision that we were just running out of time, and since the evaluation contest was our history, I just decided that's what we were going to vote on. So that was just my decision to move forward in that way.
Okay, and that's all the questions from the chat at the moment. A comment about MCSP had to be submitted by December 30th.
I know we've got some hands up. So Shri, did we answer your question from the chat? Your hand is up.
Oh, sorry. I'll raise. Yes, definitely you did answer the question, Sally.
Okay. You can put your hand down. And Greg, did you have a separate question?
Yeah, real quick on those signatures on the mini plan, do they have to be signed, or can we show a vote of the members attending the meeting that they agree on, that they support that plan?
So you must finish that plan by the date it's to be finished. However, you then have 2 weeks to get signatures.
I know, but can the signatures be done by taking minutes of the business meeting they support that plan, or do they have to have each individual sign it?
Well, let's talk about that offline,
Okay,
because
very good.
right now everybody has to sign it. The way we've been doing it is signing it, scanning it, and sending it to somebody who might be virtual so that they can sign it, scan it, and send it back.
Okay, thank you.
So we've allowed an extra 2 weeks for that process. Aaron, did you have a question?
Yes, I am. So two of my club officers, so they have been updated for their membership, and then they were moving to a different country now, but they still belong to the member, but now the officer have been changed. My successful plan for my club have been signed. I will approve it for other 4 already. But for my club, so the club officer were missing to another. So we have been voted to the new member for our club.
So at the point in time that you did the mini clubs, this is the last question, by the way. At the point in time that you did your mini club success plan, did the 2 officers who are no longer officers, were they officers then, and did they sign it? And if they were and they did, then you're fine.
They wasn't, and then that was we vote for the new member, and then we could like to have an update from a mini plan with the new member have been voted for our club, and those people will be take a vote for their signature from our mini plan to be
Okay,
complete.
how about we have an
request.
email exchange, and then I can update the answer in the notes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Now I'd like to call on Hans, who's going to be giving the public relations report for Lisa quickly.
Yes, indeed. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Hans Thoma. I'm filling in for Lisa Thompson. She is on a cruise traveling the world. So I will keep this brief. I've got some status updates to go through. Next slide. Starting with Meetup. some great success here because so far 38 clubs have signed up. And this is a site where all clubs are on one page. You can drill down to an individual club. If you have not got your club on the page so far, you need to contact Sri. Her email is on the slide here. Next slide. D57 calendar, another success story is the fact that club events are now allowed on the calendar. There is a submission process, as you know. Another bonus this year is that you can now subscribe to get updates to this calendar. Now, the manager of this program is Eric, and I just want to point out the fact that everything starts out with your submission to the calendar. We're going to help you promote your event, but everything starts with you. So your event will not get on the newsletter, it will not get on the weekly digest, and it will not get on YouTube or anything until you get it on the calendar. That's why we request you get it on there 2 weeks in advance. So please go to the District 57 website and follow that process, and we'll get you promoted. Next slide, please. You have the opportunity, no matter what your position, to create high-quality flyers, business cards, posters, anything like that. This is available through a tool called Canva. Many of you have already been using it, but it is free, allows you to create high-quality products. The next training is next week on October 17th. That is being led by Allison Harris-Abbott. Next slide. Another program we have is the podcast, of course. We've released 7 episodes so far, and those have been releasing interviews with district leaders. The leader of this program is the podcast chair, Dee Marie Shai King. Dee Marie, would you like to say anything about this program and the next steps involved?
Thank you, Hans. I just wanted to say that the PR team has been just unbelievable. I've gotten all kinds of assistance, and I want to thank them for their help. But the podcast, which is Speak, Lead, and Grow for D57, is making an attempt to keep step with everything that's going on. And a good example of that, we did a podcast with Rose Curlin prior to her visit to the district, where we highlighted the fact that she was coming. Now that we're going into the contest season, we have 3 episodes that highlight an interview with the world champion of public speaking, Luisa Montalvo. The first one is out, the other 2 are coming, and they're designed to help anyone that's going to compete in the contest to look at some things and figure out her journey and what she did to become the world champion of public speaking. Thank you so much, Hans.
Thank you, Dee. Next slide, please. As you know, we have a monthly newsletter, great success story, because that is chock full of in-depth insights about district leaders and their plans. The editor is Lee Vaughn. Next slide, please. Now, how we engage with you is really critical. You want to avoid overkill, no matter if you're in a corporate setting or a volunteer setting. That's why we created a weekly email called The Digest. We need to know if you've been receiving that. I provided the sender and subject line at the bottom of this slide. That is how you can search for this email in your inbox. I'm also going to request some feedback on that. So next slide, please. And this is your opportunity to provide feedback, including, are you receiving the emails that I mentioned? I'm going to click a survey link in the chat box, and you can submit that type of feedback to us. Thank you for your input today.
Okay. Thank you. We have some questions from Ray Gowan. Whatever the district decide, let me see. Oh, this is about contests. Sorry, Ray, we'll get to that another time. This is about contests. I saw one come in with regards to your presentation. We'll answer all these questions about the contests, okay? We'll get that out as soon as we can. I got that one. Shoot.
So can I add a caveat, Sally?
Just a minute. Well, I'm not seeing it. I just saw it come in. Lindy, you had a question. Let's move to that one. Where should they look for a podcast is the question. So when you go to the D57TM website, and which thing do you click, which is the first tab they click to get to podcasts? That's to you, Hans.
Okay, you can reach the podcast either on the D57 website or on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist specifically for podcasts.
But where do they go to click that link? So if they go to d57tm.org, then what do they click?
It's
if you
one of
want,
the
I can
tab.
check that question. This is Gerlando Termin, webmaster. I don't know if you don't want. So on the website, there's a tab called Public Relations, and then under Public Relations, it says podcast. And then
Great. Perfect. Thank you, Gerlando.
Sure.
Okay, I think that's it. We're going to go through these questions and we'll write answers to them and get those out to everybody. And I know we have lots of goodies, but frankly, I would just like to move on to the next presentation without a break. Is that okay? Folks in the room, if you want to go get a treat or run to the bathroom, please do, but we're going to move on because we got a little carried away. Say what? Oh, yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know. Yeah, I know. I made this big announcement earlier that I wanted to leave this slide in. Winnie is not here today. She's going to be giving the quarterly report at the November meeting. So we're not really missing anything. She's off doing family stuff today. Okay, next slide, please. No, I just said that. I just asked if we could just not do breaks. So Gerlando, who is our webmaster, is working on a complete overhaul, dumping new of our website. And so Gerlando, I will hand it to you.
Thank you, Sally. Hopefully it's not going to be very challenging. It's kind of a long presentation. I understand that without a break might be a little more challenging. So hopefully we'll get through the presentation without any major issues. Well, thank you again, Sally. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you for this opportunity to talk about our website redesign project with this group today. My name is Gerlando Termini, and I'm the current District 57 webmaster. And when Lisa Thompson, our public relations manager, reached out to me this past summer to see if I was interested in becoming the next webmaster, I thought that this would be a great opportunity to combine my passion for web development with a way to get more chances to push myself out of my comfort zone to improve my public speaking skills. And trust me if I say that this presentation today is definitely one of those chances when I get out of my comfort zone. But anyway, isn't that after all the reason why we all joined Toastmasters and we're glad to be part of this community? Next slide, please. Before I begin, a few housekeeping items. I'm sure that you will have questions on what you're about to see. So please hold those questions until the end or write them in the chat, which I'm told is being monitored. So we will have a short Q&A session at the end. Please keep your microphones muted. And if you want, turn off your videos to avoid distractions. And of course, the most important thing of all, feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions about the website at webmaster@d57tm.org. Next slide, please. Well, let me start by sharing a little bit about myself. I've been designing websites, large and small, for over 30 years. I earned my master's degree in computer science from the University of Pisa in Italy. And then after I graduated, I started working with their university marketing team to migrate their institutional websites to a new platform. And then after my wife and I moved to the United States back in 2008, I started working at the City University of New York, where I stayed there for about 15 years. But then when COVID hit, I found a great opportunity to work remotely at the University of California Office of the President, where I'm currently a web support specialist in their IT department. And yeah, so as a side note, I'm actually based on the East Coast, I work remotely for the University of California. Next slide, please. So over the next 20 minutes or so, we will go over our website redesign project. First, we will talk about why we are designing our website and discuss some of the challenges that we face with the current website. Even from the questions that I was seeing in the chat, that people sometimes struggle to find link or content on our current website. That was one of the reasons why we decided to move forward with this redesign. Then I will introduce our 5 guiding principles that we identified as goals for the new redesign. And you will see that the overarching theme across those 5 pillars was basically, again, to improve the user experience, but not just for the visitors, but also for those who are in charge of maintaining our website. And then, of course, we're going to have a little treat. Halloween is coming up soon. So having a little sneak peek at the new template, I thought was a nice way to end this presentation. We will go over some of the new features, and we will sort of give you an idea of what the new website will look like, so that's a great way to encourage you to provide any feedback on what you will see. And then finally, of course, we'll have a tentative timeline of when the website is going to be ready to be, the new website is going to be ready to be launched. Next slide, please. So one note before we dive into this presentation, while we're working on building this new website, that doesn't mean that the current website is being neglected, of course. So although it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes, we have been working on archiving outdated content so that you can quickly find all the updated content, like upcoming events and all the other things that Hans was mentioning earlier. So on that note, actually, a big shout out goes to our fantastic PR team for all the work they've been doing in order to keep the website up to date, and also engaging with the community through Meetup, newsletters, podcasts, you name it. I'm really happy to be part of such an amazing team. Next slide, please. So on that note, to get us started, let me ask you all a question. Those of you who have used the district website recently or even in the past, were you able to easily find the information you were looking for? If you were, please give a thumbs up reaction in Zoom right now, so I can sort of gauge the kind of interest. Oh boy, no thumbs up at all. Let's give people a few more seconds. I see very few thumbs up. So that is, in a way, an encouraging way to move forward this presentation, because that means that you either never visited the website or you could not find the information that you looked for. That's a shame, because there is so much information on our website. We just need to make it easier to find it. The next slide, please. So, when I first started looking at the current website, I don't know why, but those HGTV shows came to mind, like the one where families call in the 2 brothers to reorganize their living space. The premise for those shows is usually the same. A family with busy schedule, kids, travel, you name it. They don't have time to update their home, while their family needs sort of change over time, like a new baby on the way, a new puppy, and so on and so forth. Sometimes they even buy new furniture without getting rid of the old one. And as you can imagine, the end result is a cluttered space where they bump into each other while they're trying to make dinner or something. Well, now imagine what would happen if this family moved out, leaving behind all their furniture to the next family. And the new family not only did not get rid of the old furniture, but just start buying new furniture and put all the old one in the garage. Well, as you can see, after a while, this becomes a big problem. You start having a overcrowded house where things are no longer serving any purpose. And if they do, it's not easy to find them. So next slide, please. So this is why we needed a fresh start with our website. We needed a content review to archive outdated content. to continue with our analogy, we needed to update the pipes and some of the appliances that are used to run the house. So to use more efficient models that serve the purpose that they're being designed to serve. And we also needed a more uniform look and feel throughout the websites, because again, let's say it's not just about finding the content, but it's how that content is organized and is presented to your audience. So for example, going back to our analogy, how would you feel if some of the light switches on your house looked like knobs, some of them looked like levers, some of them were stuck in the off position, and some of them looked like regular switches? I don't know, maybe it's my OCD talking in this case, but I would really feel frustrated if that was the situation. And that's, I think, the feeling that most people that have been visiting our website based on your reactions earlier have felt as well. Next slide, please. So the very first step when we decided to work on this project was to have several conversations with our district director, Sally Feldman, our PR manager, Lisa Thompson, our digital asset manager, Elliot Rogers, and the rest of the PR team. We condensed what we learned from each of those stakeholders into the following 5 principles. First of all, the content management system should be based on a widely available tool. So not something that just only 5 people in the United States know how to use. This way, of course, finding someone who can manage the website down the road will not feel like winning the lottery. I plan to stick around for a while, but sooner or later, someone will have to take over. So I want to make sure that that person is comfortable managing the website even if they don't have a lot of technical skills. Content should be easy to navigate. We said that already, and it's not a bad thing to reiterate that. And of course, when it comes to interacting with our officers, club members, so far we've been using a few different platforms: Eventbrite for signing up for events or registration, Google Forms for collecting data, MailChimp forms, and so on. The problem with this approach is that it can lead to confusion, not just for the users, but mainly for the PR team and those trying to run the show behind the scenes, because they have to chase that information in multiple places on multiple platforms and trying to make sense of it. So wouldn't it be easier if everything was in one place and we all knew where to look? So that's definitely one of the answers that we wanted to, one of the questions that we wanted to answer. And then, of course, our website should be mobile friendly, accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. Nowadays, of course, we want to be even more inclusive and respectful and mindful of people, of course, that have different abilities and might not be using a mouse and a keyboard like many of us to interact with the web. And then, of course, the last but not least has to be budget friendly, because who doesn't like, especially in this day and age, to save some money? So that is definitely one of the things that we kept in the back of our minds while we were looking for these new tools, because we wanted to get something that was easy to use, but at the same time, save some money. So let's quickly look, next slide, please. Let's quickly look at each of these 5 pillars in a little more detail. Our existing content management system is a popular platform, WordPress, used by more than 35 million websites around the world. So that gives us the confidence that with such a large community around it, it will be easy to always have access to support, updates, and it will not be a struggle to find someone familiar with the system. Then we start looking at our Google Analytics, and it shows that our events calendar is by far the top destination for those visiting our websites. Of course, because we all want to know what's going on around the district, so that's the first thing that we visit on our district website. So we're going to use a popular app that allows us to be more flexible in how to promote events around the website, not just on the events calendar, but we can also promote specific groups of events on other pages to give them even more visibility. But the real change here was the adoption of a new design app like Hans mentioned before, Canva might be a very popular thing that people are familiar with. So in a way, we adopted a similar tool for the website, something that is not as strict and hard to find and rigid in a way, let's say, as Microsoft Word, that only allows you to create content in a certain way, but something like more Canva, again, that sort of unleashes your creativity when you're creating pages, flyers, and so on and so forth. So imagine something similar for the website, where you're not constrained by just a text box where you can type things like you would do in Microsoft Word, but you can create modules and all different kinds of visual layouts in a more flexible way. Next slide, please. The second principle, like we said, was to make it easier for everyone to find what you're looking for. So we have refreshed the navigation to focus on the main audiences that came out of that initial analysis process that we did. So we have 3 main audiences that our website will be targeting moving forward: district officers, of course, club officers, and club members, both current and prospective members, of course. We're also bringing back the search feature that was missing for a while, but now that we have cleaned up all the information on our website, all the outdated content, the search feature will be able to provide that quickly access to the information that you're looking for. And while the design app that I mentioned before is definitely a step in the right direction in terms of providing a more organized content on the website, there's even more that we can do. So for example, think about how the information about clubs is already available on toastmasters.org. So why do we need to manually copy that information and create a table or a chart or a spreadsheet with the list of all clubs and so on and so forth? Why do we have to do it manually? Why not create a function that downloads that information from toastmasters.org and publishes it on the website automatically, so that we don't have to take care of that unless we want to, of course, change things manually that are not displayed on the toastmasters.org website. So one last thing that eliminates the need for someone to go in there and manually update that information all the time. Well, not only by saving this information in the database, as I will show you in a few minutes, we can display it in multiple places on the website while we needed to update it only once. So for example, if a club name changes, we change it in the database once, and then in all the places on the website where that information is displayed, it will be updated automatically by the system. So you will see that again in action in just a few minutes. Next slide, please. And then the third pillar is, as I mentioned before, to centralize all the different sources of information that we have. Eventbrite, Google Forms, and so on and so forth. Why not have everything in one central place? So for example, and that benefits everyone, for example, moving forward with the new website, people will be able to RSVP directly on the website. And then that information will be tied to the event, so that if people that are organized, those who are organizing that event, can log into the website, see how many people are attending, do whatever they need to do in terms of check people in at the event and so on and so forth, all in one centralized dashboard that doesn't require people to chase that information again in a Google form that someone created 3 years ago. So that's definitely something that will benefit both visitors and, again, people that manage all that information. Next slide, please. Right, so information again at your fingertips. The other guiding pillar will be, we can go to the next slide, thank you. So the next point, of course, is to make the website optimized for all devices. Nowadays, currently 75% of our visitors, according to Google Analytics, are coming from a desktop computer, but we know that more and more people are starting to use their mobile devices to access the web. So we want to be ready, and be ready in a way that does not add more work for the editors. So the new template will automatically resize and reorganize the content on the page to fit the screen in which it's being displayed. We're also ensuring, as I said earlier, that the new website is more inclusive for people that have some kind of disability. People that might not be using a keyboard and mouse and even a screen like many of us do. So in that case, for example, there's people that use screen readers. So in order for them to understand the page that they're looking at, images need to be associated with a little description that the screen reader can read to explain to them what the image is about. So that information is definitely something that is going to be built into the new template so that it can be easily used when we update web content. And as I said earlier, the last pillar is that we wanted to save a little bit of money. So have a website that is a little more budget friendly. We achieved that by reducing the amount of apps that were being used on the website. So we had about 40 apps before, and then we narrowed that number down to about 10 now. That way we can cut licensing fees and other costs to by about $400 a year compared to previous years. Not only we're saving money, but having less apps running on the website means that the website can load faster. Think about your phone. If you had like 100 apps running on your phone all at once, your phone would be a little slower instead of having just those 10 apps that you use all the time. So that's definitely some sort of digital hygiene that we apply to the website. Next slide, please. Right, and then, yeah, of course, actually, as a quick note, yes, we also increased platform security, because the less apps you have running on your website, the less intrusion points you have for people that have malicious intentions, of course. Next slide. Yep, we can skip that. And now, of course, the moment that you all have been waiting for. So please, before we start doing this presentation, take note of this temporary address. Of course, once we launch the website, this will become just d57tm.org. But for the time being, if you want to go in there, when you have time, preview the website, work in progress that we're doing, you can type that address in your browser. It's test.d57tm.org. For now, there will be a username and password. We don't want Google to find this website ahead of time so that it doesn't get indexed and it doesn't confuse people, of course. So you will see that there's a username and password requested, and that's D57 for the username and welcome for the password. And I guess I'll take over from here. Give me one quick second while I prepare screen. Oops, back. And here it is. Okay, I hope you all see my screen now. Can you confirm if you see my screen with the new district websites? All right,
Yes.
Sally's thumbs up. Perfect, thank you. Let's start from the home page. So as you can see, compared to the current website, we streamline the design. We make it so that it's easier to also understand what each item on the website does. Usually you will see the little narrow buttons are items that you can interact with on the website. You will see those sprinkled throughout the website, and they all look the same. They all have the same kind of behavior. So it's easier to sort of get used to the kind of look and feel that you will have. In terms of the home page, there's the major change is a more clear distinction between news and events. On our current website, news and events are bundled together, and it's hard to, one, manage them for those managing the website, and two, understand which one is which for those who are visiting the website. So by separating those two content types, we have an easier way for users to understand what's happening and for editors to manage those pieces of content. So we'll have, of course, the news and updates that can be clicked so that people can go to the specific news item that they're looking at accessing. And down there, then we'll have a separate section for upcoming events. And as it says here, it's just upcoming events, meaning that the system will automatically archive events that have expired. So it will not be listed there, but will all be available in our events archive if people want to go back and take a look at what was happening a few weeks ago. We also introduced this that I call Spotlight section on our website. It has a flexible purpose. For example, for now, we can use it to promote our podcast, but in the future can also be used to promote specific events, specific announcements, a contest, you name it. I mean, it can be anything we want at this point. That's the beauty of this new template, is that it's flexible enough that it can be composed. Each page can be composed the way we like it. And then, of course, once we have that, we can promote things. For example, in our case, we are promoting our YouTube channel / podcast channel that people can go and visit directly on YouTube. So same thing, if we decide to change this to something different, then we can use all the little building blocks, visual building blocks to promote that event and to introduce the information, to display the information that you want to display. So in this case, it's a video that plays actually right on the page, so people don't have to leave our website. Or of course, if they click on the YouTube link, they can go and watch the video on the YouTube platform. Can be anything you want. So if you have any feedback or any ideas on how we can use this showcase / spotlight section on the website in the future, please feel free to send me an email. We will discuss it internally and see if that can be implemented. Then for the events, we saw that section already. Then we have the trio that is displayed right at the homepage. And going back to what I was saying during my presentation earlier, the information that you see here displayed is actually stored in a database. So what people that have to edit this information, they don't need to know how this is displayed or make sure that this little pop-up appears and change things here. All they need to worry about is updating the information about that specific person, and then let the system display that information the way it was designed. Of course, we can change the way the information is displayed, but again, it sort of separates the business logic, as we techies call it, from the presentation layer. And then down here, like I said, we have those 3 main categories or target audiences for the website. This is still work in progress, of course, but feel free to suggest any links that you would like to see under each of these 3 categories here. We're more than happy to take your feedback and implement it, because at the end of the day, the website has to be something that is useful to you. So if you can find that information, it's definitely something that we are more than happy to work with. Then, for example, going back to the district leadership, now we have a more visual look and feel for the district leadership page. And again, when I click on any of these profiles, I get that information, but the person editing the website will not have to worry or remember to update that information in 3 different places. They updated it just once in the database, and the system will take care of displaying it the way it should. Same thing here. We can now, having all the information in the database, we can categorize it more easily and display it dynamically on the website in a way that makes more sense. So we have the Trio Plus at the top. We have committee chairs. They're appointed by the Program Quality Director. We have committee chairs appointed by the Cloud Growth Director. And again, all this information is in the database and can be extended and displayed in any way we want. One little thing that Sally actually had requested a while ago that I was able to implement with this new website. Now that the information about clubs and people is in the database, we can do actually more advanced things like displaying all the clubs that are associated to that area director. So if I click on this button here, I will see this pop-up or a dialog window that will display each of those clubs associated with that person. And then, of course, I can click on each of those little boxes, and that will take me to the specific club with all the information that is being, again, dynamically downloaded from toastmasters.org, so that we don't have to worry about updating this manually. As you can see here, the system is also able to cross-reference information about people with information about clubs. So for each club, it will show you what the division director for that club is, area director, and some basic contact information. We have meeting details and so on and so forth. If you want to update this information, again, this is not, we can definitely do it on our website, but the best way to do that at that point is to go on the toastmasters.org website, update it there, and let our system update it then dynamically. Right now, it's done once a week. So once a week, the system connects to toastmasters.org and downloads a fresh batch of information. So if you see any of this information outdated here, make sure that you update it on the other platform, and it will be automatically updated here as well. A couple more things, and then I know I want to be mindful of time, but just a couple more things that I wanted to mention. For clubs by area and division, we sort of simplified the look and feel of this page. People most of the time don't know which division of area they belong to when they're part of a club. So that is right up front now, displayed front and center on this main view here. So you know right away which club, which division or area your club belongs to. And then of course you can click, like we saw before, on each of these clubs, and you will go to that detailed view that has all the information about each of those clubs. You can even search. So for example, if I search for my club here, I will quickly find, just by typing there, it will be displayed, and then I can click on the link and it will take me to the details for that club. And another thing that I wanted to mention, of course, is events. So for events, we have the main events page. Again, there's still work in progress, so don't mind all the construction debris that you will see around the website until the website is ready to launch. And again, the calendar right now is almost empty because we haven't synchronized the current website with the new one. Right now, it's just for testing purposes. But one thing that I wanted to show you is actually that feature that I was mentioning before. So for example, if I have a club event, so I can go now to a specific view just for club events that will not display any other events that are not marked as club events. And that club has an event that requires a ticket to be purchased, or maybe a registration. Everything now will happen within the website itself. So you don't have to go to Eventbrite. You can just see, for example, in this case, this event has a ticket of $10 and there are 23 tickets still available. If that's something that the event requires, where there's limited capacity for the room and so on and so forth. So what I can do, let's say I want to purchase 2 tickets. I click 2, I get tickets, and I can check out without leaving the website at all. All this information gets collected. We use a third-party credit card processing tool that keeps all that information secure. No credit card information is stored on our website. So of course, there's for added security for everyone. But you can follow this process and then get your tickets. You will get a PDF with a printed ticket that you can bring to the event and so on and so forth. And then of course, I can show you in a few seconds how that looks in the back end for those organizing the event. And like Hans mentioned before, we now have this form where you can submit an event. So if you have a club event that you want to promote on our website, you will be able to go to this page, enter all the information, the event title, the short description, and so on and so forth. And that will be automatically added to the website as a pending event. So it will not be displayed, but those managing the website will see it in their queue. And then with just one click, without having to copy things from Google Docs or from any other places, we'll be able to simply approve or reject that event, and it will automatically appear on the website. What else do I want to show you? Well, just a quick, this is probably more than what you need to know, but in going in the back end. So this is what it looks like in terms of the database. So all the people are organized individually. And again, all you need to do to update your information, all we need to do as editors to update that information is to update any of these fields here and then let the system display this information somewhere on the website. There's a lot of fields and a lot of ways to slice and dice the information based on the title that you have, which area, if applicable, you belong to, and so on and so forth. Same thing for clubs. So we have all the information in the database about all the clubs, all the things that we need to know. And again, even for the editors, if I go back to this list view, there's very quickly, you can get at a glance information about which division, which area that clubs belongs to, and you can filter by division or area. So I can tell in the back end or also on the front end. So on the front facing site, I can say, show me just the clubs that belong to division F, because I'm looking for something. So that again makes it easier for both end users and editors to keep this information up to date. A few more things that we can do, and then I will wrap this up, is that we can now create short links with the new website. I know, for example, that recently we had one that was the d57tm.org/marathon for Rose Curlin's event. So for example, that goes to a much longer document, but the short one is easy to remember. So we have a tool that allows us to quickly create short links for events that we can promote all over our multiple platforms. That's basically what I have in terms of the look and feel of the website. So I'll stop sharing at this point, and I have one last slide. And I really appreciate you sort of tagging along and being patient while I was presenting all of this. So the last slide is about timeline, because the main question at this point is, of course, all this looks great, but when will it go live? Well, we've completed, as you could see, the system configuration. And what we're doing now is to work on designing and completing the content for the new pages. Content review is ongoing at this point. We hope to have the design and development and the content review done by November of this year. And of course, again, as I mentioned before, please feel free to email me if you have any questions or any feedback or any comments on what should go on each of the pages that you will see when you visit the website. So if you feel that under the resources pages for district officers, there should be something that is not there right now, please send me an email and we will make sure to add it to those pages if it makes sense to. And then launch should happen around December of this year, with training for editors and people that are in charge of editing the website happening shortly afterward. Next slide, please. Right, so that's training. So this is a lot of information to process, and I try to share it with you as quickly as possible. So let's open the floor to any questions, comments, or concerns that you might have.
Okay, Jeff, are there questions in the chat?
There are a few, but I wanted to give Linda a chance to run them out this time. Linda, you still there?
I am here, yes.
All right, questions for you are yours.
Okay, ooh. I'm not seeing any questions specifically for Jolanda. Thanks for taking on the project and keeping us informed. I'd like to admin Rockridge. Hello, things are moving.
Do you have a question?
If I can interject, I see a question from Monir asking if I could explain how people can actually use sort of a similar system to manage this website. And going back to what Linda was saying about presentations that we can do at open houses, I actually signed up for a similar presentation at open houses. Of course, it's a much shorter version of this, where I basically highlight just the 5 pillars. And then, of course, we can work offline to where I can help you set up a similar environment for your website. So absolutely, yes, feel free to reach
Right.
out.
And Jolanda, Stephanie Butler asked the same questions. She's doing an open house in December and wants to add this to the calendar. So there are some specific questions around that.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. Use the form that I showed you before if you want to submit an event, and then we can add it to our calendar. Yes.
And then Monir wants to be the admin for Rockridge Toastmasters. Could you tell him how to do that?
Right.
And yeah. And other than that.
Okay, I have a comment in the room if that's all of the chat ones.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Dennis has a comment.
You're fine. I'm talking really loud.
Okay.
I just want to point out that Gerlando has done a great job with our current website. And I don't know that you're getting enough credit for that. I'm speaking at an event in District 101 in 2 weeks, and I went to find the event on their website, and nothing has been updated since May on the website in D101. So this is just incredible, the job that he's done maintaining the current site and moving us toward the new one. So let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just one other question, Tiffany Don Jones asked, WordPress or what CMS is this?
Yes, this is WordPress.
So it is WordPress. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think that's all I have.
All right, moving right along. We are now ready to start our division director reports. Okay, so our first reporter is Maureen Filler, who is Division A. Yeah.
They're in the process of scheduling and doing their director visits. I have cautioned them that it is critical that they submit the reports as soon as they have them and not wait until the deadline. Like anything else, if you choose to wait until close to November 30th, there is a strong possibility that you will not be able to complete your report. In any event, I've been stressing that we are starting to plan for how we will conduct the in-person piece of the contest. 2 of my area directors are remote. They live out of state. But we are working on ways to combine the area contests. My goal is that I will have them paired where one of the remote directors pairs their area contest with one that is local. That way we have an in-person presence. So that's one of my plans. We also have a club that was started last year by Jeff and Pravina that is having a little bit of trouble. And one of the things that I'm planning to do is work with them and with that club to get them back on track. That's my report.
Thank you so much. Oh.
We keep talking about combined contests. Can we be clear that it's consecutive contests at the same venue and not combined contests?
Right. Okay. So here's the clarification that Dennis brought up. We've been talking about combined contests. It is the same idea as what we've done in the past. You may be in the same room, but it's 2 separate contests that are occurring. It's not like the contestants from Division D are competing against the contestants from Division E. That's not happening. They're 2 self-contained contests that are happening at the same time in the same room.
2 consecutive contests in the same venue.
Right. Well, we have done this. It doesn't have to, actually, it does not have to be separate functionaries. What we have done in the past is we have all of the speakers, say from area 26, speak, and then there's time, and the judges, you know, do their thing, and then we have all the speakers from area 30 speak, and then the judges do their thing and submit it. It is okay for those judges to be the same judges. Okay, but they're not. It's not like here's a contestant from 26, here's one from 30, 26, 30. It's not like that. Separate competitions in the same venue at the same time. Well, I mean, if the contest is from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock, it's from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock. It's not, you know, if you're running 2 in-person contests, first you run the evaluation contest, you have the one area, the other area, then you finish that, then you go on to the international speech contest, one area, and then the other area. That's what I mean by it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quiet.
So you know what, we'll define and explain, but it's basically that you can be there at the same time frame in the same room. We'll get it. You'll get it. It's still separate contests.
Sounds like we need a little article.
Sue of Division B, you're up.
Okay. Well, we had a division council meeting last week. It had a fairly small attendance. 2 of my area directors were unable to log on for some reason. They both live outside the country. So I will be doing some practices with them before our next council meeting. My area directors are doing their visits. I have one area director who has been a little bit hard for me to get a hold of. She had some, her father had some health issues, and she sort of dropped out of contact for a while, but she seems to be more easy to get a hold of now. At our council meeting, we talked mainly about contests, and we had a couple of clubs that volunteered their locations for in-person contests. So I'm feeling better about that. That's about all I have to report on.
Thank you so much for that. Ray Gallen, I saw you here, so Division C.
Yes, we've been having council meetings fairly, at least once. We've been meeting once a month, and if everybody can't make it, I will set up an appointment to meet with them. It is important to meet with the area directors. They're all working towards the visits and doing the reports. Haven't got any done, I don't believe yet, but I'll keep encouraging them and trying to get those reports going. As we settle down on the contest and get a little decision what's going on, that kind of helps when you talk about contests to know a little bit of what you're talking about. Also look forward to the training that, especially as we go back to the in-person contests, there's some differences, but most of it's the same. It's just you still have to have all the functionaries, just everybody has to be in the room. Locations, I know one of my area directors already has a location for her area contest. The others will need to work on it. It's a challenge, but we'll do it. It's been done before. It's been about 4 or 5 years since everybody's been doing this. So looking forward to that. And the training is extremely important. And the other thing I tell my directors and make sure they all understand that all the rules are Toastmasters International. And so some of the questions that were asked today, there's, I'm not sure exactly what it's called. Jeffrey or Sally can tell, but the rules for the contest are in there. It's a big manual, and you have to find out the right spots to look for some of the information, but it's there. I've done the joint contest before. We did it last year for an area. And just as they say, it's doable. But it's like each area runs a separate contest, but you use all the same functionaries. You just have breaks between all of them. And it actually works fairly good as long as it's not too many participants. If you're getting over 4 or 5, 6% participants, 7 or 8, it starts getting long. And especially the evaluation when you go, if you end up with 5 or 6 or 7 contestants, you'll have one target speaker, one contest, a break, and then the other evaluators having the contest. But it's doable, but you get to use the same functionaries, which is one big advantage. Otherwise, it's going pretty good. It's still, Jeff and I haven't talked, and we probably need to. We still got an underserved area, and an area that I don't know if we can do something, but Eureka, a population of fair amount that has had clubs, has gone down in clubs. I would like to see us try to get something done there, but man, the distance is just kind of a killer in some ways. I'm in Ukiah, and Eureka is still 2.5 hours north of us, and it's a challenge to serve outlying areas. My division is probably as big as all the other divisions area-wise put together. Population-wise, a lot more redwood trees than people. So anyway, that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray. Yes, you, I think, have the most challenging division in District 57 in terms of just distance and trying to stay connected in that way. Division D, Jan Voss, you're online, I see.
Yes, I am. So I have been a little bit absent this last couple of weeks from division activities because I had surgery on the 2nd. I'm recovering really well, so I'm starting to get back into the swing of things. I'm going to be meeting with my area directors that are here after the meeting to have a quick checkup, and I'm going to schedule another division council meeting. I have to find a convenient time because I am 2 hours ahead of you, and then I have one area director who is in Sri Lanka. So finding an appropriate time for all of us to meet is challenging. I know that when I looked the other day, I didn't see any reports from my area directors. I had just before that had sent a reminder to them that they needed to be doing those at this time. So I want to follow up. I do know that one of my area directors for the area that my home club is served, it has scheduled his visit for our club. So I know that that's in progress. But hopefully I'll get back in the swing of things. Like I said, I'm recuperating really well, so I'm ready to get going again. I don't have a whole lot to report today, though.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We are glad to hear that you are recovering quickly. Thank goodness for that. And we wish you the best. I'm glad you're jumping back into the fray and look forward to this year with you. Carrie is our Division E director, and she's headed toward the front of the room.
Hello, I want to report that all my area directors have been visiting their clubs, and they're really excited about their visits. One, Lakshya, completed all his visits and is going to submit his reports. He's from UC Berkeley, and he said that he already has a place in mind for his contest. There 3 area directors have already submitted reports. They're incomplete, but they're there. So really happy that, that they're getting started, and they're in the process of doing things. And I'm planning on scheduling another division council meeting either at the end of this month or early next month to follow up, especially with the contests. I got 2 leads I have to follow up on for locations, and 2 churches in mind, so I'm going to call and follow up, but we're in the process, and we're getting things done.
Good.
Excellent. Anything else?
No,
all right.
all.
Our Division F our division director is Shalini. I don't see her online. Is there an area director that is from F that would like to say a few words?
Hi, Sally. This is Shri. I'm from Division F. I'm the one of the area directors, and to update what's going on, our directors have been visiting clubs and discussing issues with the clubs and giving them motivation, ideas, and also resources out how to deal with. Mostly the problem is membership building, I guess. So we have recommended doing a lot of open houses and bringing in more variety to the clubs. So people will be motivated to attend, and guess who attend the clubs will join the club. And I think that's it from us.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your stepping in. I am about to adjourn our meeting so that the divisions can go into breakout rooms and have any conversations that they would like to have. Are there questions? Yeah, I should say that. Are there questions at this point about anything that was said during the division director presentations? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none.